The Ultimate Isle of Man quiz book is the second in the Three Legs, Two Wheels collection of books. In there, again, like the cycling quiz book, there's 800 questions, 80 quizzes, and they're split into 5 sessions. The first session covers geography, history, politics, native animals and wildlife, mythology and folklore, the Manx language, and events such as Tinwood Day. From there, it moves on to session 2, and for the TT fans, this is a session that you'll particularly love. There's 26 quizzes in session 2. I think about 22 or 23 of them are on the TT alone. Then you have there's a couple on the Festival of Motorcycling, the Southern 100, rallying, and other motorsports is also included in that session. So yeah, probably only about maybe 20 or 21 TT rounds, but in there it covers, it goes through the decades. So it'll ask you who won the 1929 senior TT, and it'll ask you who won the 1975 production TT, or that sort of questions. But then there are other sort of off on tangent sort of questions. So I think there's one about why lap times were lower in the 1947 TT. I think it was the first one after World War II. So there's a lot of that'll keep the avid TT fan amused for hours going through those questions. After that, I go on to session 3. In there, there's at the movies. There's a couple of rounds on movies, so all with an Isle of Man connection. So, for example, which character did Sam Barks play in the 2012 movie Les Miserables? If you know that one, that's a point. Then there's a couple of rounds on famous residents. So, for example, who was the owner of Bolton Wanderers Football Club between 2003 and I think it's 2016 was the date. So if you know that one, that'd be another point. There's a couple of rounds on food and drink. What is Bonnock? If you know what that is. I mean, if you're Manx, you should do. Then there's literature. Which poet laureate once described Douglas Bay as the Naples of the North? If you know that, that's a point. Then it moves on to music, and the Isle of Man's quite got a good connection with music. There's music, there's the obvious one with the Bee Gees that were born here, but you've also got people who've moved here, such as the lead singer of Smokey, for example. I forget his name. And so for example, the question in there is, which song was the Bee Gees' first UK number 1? So if you know that one, that's a point. Then there's a couple of rounds on TV. So a lot of the TV round is basically on programmes that have been filmed here. So, for example, which late night ITV production was filmed at the Palace Lido in 1989? If you know that one, that's a point. Then it goes. We go on to the session 4, which is a sport round. I think there's about 10 quizzes in the sport round, which covers the Olympics. A couple of rounds on the Commonwealth Games, because obviously the Isle of Man competes on its own as the Commonwealth Games. So there's actually more that you can find to compile a quiz than there are with the Olympics. Then there's a couple of rounds on the Island Games. Another one the Island has a lot of involvement in. I think the Island Man actually started it back in the 80s, and that's probably one of the questions. Then there's a couple of rounds on football. So I mean that we'll be looking at Manx football, but also it might be there's probably a question that they're saying, name the Manx-born or the Manx-born footballer who won the FA Cup with Arsenal in 2019, I think, or 2020, whenever it was. So that sort of thing. Then there's the cycling round, which obviously we all know with Mark Cavendish, Peter Kenyon, where Ireland's been massive in cycling in recent years. But even back in the past, the Ireland's had some great cyclists. So there's a round on that, and then there's other sports. For example, which sport does Tom Gandy play? For example. And so then it moves on to session 5, and in there you've got business. So an example of a question in the business round is, which UK company bought Tynwald Mills in August 2019? If you know that one, that's a point. Then there's a couple of rounds on stamps and coins, because the Isle of Man has got, the Isle of Man Post Office has produced a lot of high quality stamps and coins, very popular with collectors over the years. So an example of a question in there is, in 2007, it was reported that Dexter Holland is an avid collector of Isle of Man stamps. Which punk rock band is he the lead singer of? If you know that one, that's a point. It goes on to maritime. You got standard sort of questions in there, in which year was the steam packet company founded? Then there's aviation. So, for example, what was the name of the air disaster that happened in February 1958? Of a flight from the Isle of Man to Manchester. Probably give it away. And then there's a railways round. So, which railway will take you to Sea Lion Rocks? There's a question there. There's after that there's an Island at War question, like a round which off the top of my head I think there's maybe a question there. What is the name of the street in Castletown which sent 40, it's classed as the most patriotic street, and sent about 40 men to World War One, I think it was. There's probably a question in there about which probably a question there about Joseph Pilates as well, because he was interned in Knockalo during World War One. I forget what the question was. I've probably just given you the answer, but yeah. So that's kind of what the book covers. It's available now on Amazon, $2.99 for the ebook. I think $4.99 for the paperback. So it's not much pocket money really. Bit of fun. Links in with the series, which obviously, as you have seen from the other books, is a cycling quiz book, because it's 3 legs, 2 wheels. It's all about cycling. This channel, and of course motorcycling. So with the TT. So links in with that, and also the cycling in the Isle of Man book. And then I've got an idea for a couple of other books, and one of them is going to be out of the TT. So to just sort of complete the collection. So I just wanted to do that little well, it's actually a long video now to say what you can find, and hope to, what you can expect to see in this quiz book. And if you fancy having a go, if you're Manx, if you like, whether you live on the island now, or you're here like I am, or whether you're living somewhere away and you just want to test your knowledge, or try and bring back your childhood memories, or whatever it might be, it's available there now, and you can download that now, and there's a link in the description box to do so. Other than that, all I have to say is please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you posted with more information, more videos about cycling, about the TT over the next few weeks and months.